Hello, my name is Ray Salazar, and this is Morning Reel, a 3 or 4 or 600 minute or so podcast of films that I review of all kinds, of all countries, short, long, you name it. I review it. I also take requests at officialmorningreel@gmail.com. Today, I am talking about Jerry Maguire, written, produced, and directed by Cameron Crowe, who's directed one of my favorite films, Vanilla Sky, that stars Tom Cruise, which is ironic because Tom Cruise stars as Jerry Maguire in the film Jerry Maguire. This film came out in 1996. It's an American romance comedy. It's a sports film in a sense. This film is about ethics. This film is about love. This film is about parenting. They don't show the parenting too much. It's mostly about the sports, which I think is as much as I like this movie, I think it's a flaw in a sense. I think they could have spent a lot of time on the aspect of family. I mean, they do, but I feel like it could have been stronger. Nonetheless, this film is pretty good. What could I really say about this film? Tom Cruise is an incredible actor. He has shown it in almost every film. He puts 100% of himself in every role. Sometimes I feel he may be doing a little bit too much, but that's Tom Cruise. He's just fucking fueled by Scientology and just independence. What can go wrong? Who can fuck him up, right? This film fucks him up as far as his character is concerned. Jerry Maguire's about a sports agent. He is pretty popular amongst the sport of, football. You know, he is likable. He has players in his roster, but one day he figures something out. I don't want to be fake. So what does he do? Puts out a manifesto of sorts, which he calls a mission statement. It's more like a memo. Everybody reads it in the company. People love it to the point where they applaud when he walks into the door. Then later on, he gets fired. I guess he embarrassed the company. Out of that moment, he wants to do things right. He wants to do things differently, and he does. He has a great supporting role from Renee Zellweger and Cuba Gooding Jr., who actually earned an award for this film. And he was great in this film. And it's funny because he just came out of Boys in the Hood not too long ago in the 90s, right? And he really stepped up in this role playing a football player who is not really much about the heart. It's more about getting that check. But in this world, in this cutthroat business minded world, it's hard to play by the heart. And it's funny, the character Jerry Maguire and Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character, they're like it's like a almost a match made in heaven. They play off of each other. They teach each other things. They learn from each other as well. And I like that about the film. I think Cameron Crowe did a good job writing those, not necessarily the backgrounds of the character, but what the characters want from each other. Cuba Gooding, he wants to be secured in his career, which is, being a wide receiver for the Arizona Cardinals. Jerry Maguire wants to make sure that happens, but not only that, to make that happen, that wide receiver needs to change, and he has to because you need to be loved in this world, and it's fucked up. It's fucked up that you gotta like kind of force yourself, and the film doesn't necessarily like show that. I mean, they do show the struggles that players go through or that agents go through. Like I said, cutthroat business. When you're not likable, it's hard to get liked again. Obviously, it works out because it is a comedy. One thing I want to add, and this goes for any business, if you're an entrepreneur, you want to make it in this, well, if you want to make it in the world where your career is at or in the business that you're at, takes a lot of time, takes a lot of sacrifice of your personal life. And it's funny how Jerry Maguire likes to mix business with pleasure, and he mixed it very well with Renee Zellweger's character, especially her son. Plays a good supporting role in this film too. I gotta give it to that kid. He he lights up the room. He really does light up the room. And I mean, yeah, it can be a little corny sometimes, but for a film like this, it does work. Mixing business with pleasure. You can tell that these two people love each other very much. Not only that, they want the best for each other, but they also want the best for their kid. One of my favorite scenes in the film, obviously, is when Rod Tidwell, he gets hurt, right? And he's knocked down, and everybody's stunned. The wife at home looking at him, can't do shit about anything. The only thing that she can do is just fucking call. And who does she call? She calls Jerry Maguire. And he tells her, I'm going to take care of it. I'm going to get to the bottom of it. And he gets to the bottom of it. And when he does, everything is golden from there. And that's just a setup. But the whole point is after the game, when people love Rod again. And you can tell at that moment, Jerry did his job. Great way to end the second half of the third act. And when he sees the interaction between Tidwell and his wife over the phone, not even in person, over the phone, it warms your heart. It really does. It makes you feel like you want to share that moment that they're sharing with. And for some people who don't have anybody to share moments like that with, and those who long for things like that. And at that moment, Jerry he just knew that, hey man, my job's not done yet. You know, I'm not just a sports agent, but I'm a man. You know, I'm a man. There's somebody out there who needs me, much as how my players need me to get their deals going. Goes to his wife, and that's that. I recommend everybody to see this film. It's a really good film. There's comedy, there's romance, there is suspense. Not a lot of suspense, but there is suspense. If you're into sports, you're gonna dig this film right off the bat. If you're into, romantic comedies, you're gonna love this film. I will give this film honestly 3.5 out of 4 toes. And I just said why. I would see this movie again. I saw this at HBO Max. If you have HBO Max, take a look. If you don't, there are still hundreds, thousands, millions of VHS copies of Jerry Maguire. It's crazy, right? Follow me at Morning Shot Films on IG and YouTube. Follow Morning Reel, my podcast. You can rate and review this podcast. Send me a comment. Send me anything. I love hearing what people have to say about anything film related. I welcome it. You can find this podcast on, Google Podcasts, iHeart, Spreaker. It's on YouTube as well. Also, you can find this on Apple. Thank you.